Welcome back to a brand new episode of Bad Creepypasta Chronicles, the show where I laugh at stories that think blood and gore automatically equals scary. Today we're going to be looking at a Cars creepypasta. Why? Because there just has to be a creepypasta out of everything nowadays. It's just, it's like Rule 34, except instead of porn, it's creepypastas. Yeah. But before I make any life choices I'm probably going to regret soon, let me run this down for you, for those of you who are new. C stands for cliches. L stands for logic errors. CH stands for comprehension errors. And G stands for general errors. And now that we got that out of the way, time to begin my favorite part of the day. Suffering. Psycho, Mater, and McQueen. A Cars creepypasta. You know, that Pixar movie that isn't good. So before I start reading the story, I'm gonna be doing something here, and probably from now on, I'm gonna be giving the story starting errors. Basically, errors before I start reading the story. I know, it's such a foreign concept, right? Like, for instance, this story has unbelievably bad grammar. The capitalization is bad. The punctuation is even worse, which is why I'm starting it off with 10 comprehension errors. That may seem like a lot, but run this story through Grammarly, and you will see that this is me being generous. 2 general errors for these two, wonderful, very wonderful pieces of art. Like, dude, that art is so good. It's MS Paint. If you think this is of any quality, well, the door's over there. Have you ever heard of Cars? A Pixar franchise. I did, and it was fun. Yeah, I don't think that was the correct terminology you should have used there. Also had a cliche for starting the story literally the exact same way as every single Lost episode story on the planet. It all started on a rainy day. I was bored. I was watching the Disney Channel, and what was on was Gravity Falls. It was boring since I'm not a fan of that show. There was one main problem with the sentence. Pointless details that literally have nothing to do with the story. The fact that Gravity Falls was on doesn't matter. It has no effect on the story. But even then, if it was boring and you're not a fan of that show, then why were you watching it? Then the episode was over, and it said that episode of Mater's Tall Tales was coming up next. I love Mater's Tall Tales, and I still do to this day. I was excited because I loved Cars so much. You're just the ultimate Cars stan, aren't you? So I watched. The opening came. However, there was no sound. And when Mater's door opened, I saw something scary. The sky was dark black. So, it was nighttime. The door with the logo was blood red, and the title looked demonic. But the most disturbing part was Mater. He had his eyes closed, and his mouth was bleeding, and his buck teeth were broken. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Blood does not equal horror! Then the title came, and it said Psycho, Mater, and McQueen. Good job for not using quotations. You get a comprehension error for that. Even though it only said Mater in most of the episodes. The sound came back, and the episode began with the radiator spring scene, which was normal. It showed McQueen the race car at Lizzie's curious shop. Hey Lizzie, said Lightning. 2 major issues with this. 1. Quotations! Use them! Second issue. Consistency. So since the beginning of the story, you've been referring to Lightning McQueen as simply McQueen, and at the end of that sentence, you now start referring to him as Lightning now? I mean, of course I know it's the same character, but somebody who hasn't seen Cars is probably gonna get very confused by that. Hey there, buddy. I was happy, 'cause it was nice. Then McQueen said, I didn't come here for stickers. I actually came here for something else. Again, use your damn quotations, it's not that hard. Lizzie then said, what was it? It zoomed into McQueen's mouth, and what he said made my heart drop. In a demonic voice, McQueen said, murder. Why wouldn't he? Also had a comprehension error for, once again, Lack of quotations. And then the screen cut to black for 5 seconds, but then I heard a blood-curdling scream. It showed a realistic picture of Lizzie. Her windows were broken, her eyes were closed and bleeding, and her mouth was ripped off. Ah, yes. Gore equals scary, as we all know. It was then zoomed to McQueen, and he looked like something out of someone's nightmare. He had extremely tiny pupils, his teeth was really sharp, his 95 was now 666. I was freaked out. Several cliches in that sentence, and comprehension errors because, really weirdly placed periods. Like, I don't know, what the hell? He then looked at the camera for 6 seconds and said, "Mater's my only friend now." I was then crying, and then I stopped when I heard Lightning say, "Don't cry, I'm your favorite, remember? Ah, yes." Pointless fourth wall breaks because that is scary. That really scared me. I just shit my pants. And also, logic error because why are you crying over a character in a TV show? It's a character in a TV show. Get over it. Also, if you look at the end of the sentence, you can see a period after the question mark. I don't think troll pastas do this. Like, creepypastas that are, made to be shit. I don't even think they do that. That is unprecedented. 3 comprehension errors, dude. It then cut to black for 3 seconds. Then it cut to Sally and Mater, but the sky was blood red, and for 1 minute I could only hear the breathing of these 2 characters. But then the screen cut to red, and I heard a loud scream. Once again, we're just repeating these cliches, aren't we? It then cut to Sally, killed like Lizzie, and looked dead like Lizzie too, except she also had bite marks and her throat slit. It then zoomed to Mater, but he looked more messed up than McQueen was. He had black eyes with huge red pupils, and his teeth were extremely sharp with blood on it. His toe was broken. Okay, so why exactly is Lightning and Mater killing everybody? This is like a major flaw that you see in a lot of creepypastas, not just lost episodes. Characters just murdering other characters for no reason. Except for scary, obviously. He looked at me for 11 seconds, and then he said in a more demonic voice, "I always wanted to be a killer." It then cut to static for 30 seconds, and then it showed the scariest scene in my life. In your life, or of your life? McQueen and Mater were in Radiator Springs, but everything was on fire, and they were staring at me. And they were both smiling in exploded wide mouths. Lightning then said, "We killed them all." We just killed them all, man. And then the episode ended. I was crying for like a minute again. It's a fucking TV show. Get over it. And I don't know why this was on my TV. I then went to sleep. When I woke up, all I saw on the ceiling was a giant Lightning McQueen sticker staring at me. Great job on completely ripping off the ending of Sonic.exe. Seriously though, I just lost a double-digit amount of brain cells reading that. And it is quite possibly one of the worst lost episode stories I have ever read. Let's tally this up. So that was Psycho, Mater, and McQueen. And like I said before, this is probably one of the worst lost episode stories I've ever read. The quote-unquote scares they use in the story have all been done to death, and the progression is just non-existent, and the plot just made absolutely no sense. So let this story be a reminder to all of you that 1. Do not make creepypastas out of every single already existing IP, in this case, Cars. And 2. Creepypastas are more than just gore fests and red bodily fluid. And to the writer, keep writing, keep improving, look back on your past mistakes, and make sure to keep them in mind, and someday, you'll make something good. And that pretty much concludes this episode of Bad Creepypasta Chronicles. If you want to suggest stories for future episodes, just leave them in the comments. Just make sure that these stories are actually written to be scary and not just troll pastas. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. So, thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Icy Pie, which is me, and I'll see you on the next video. So, see ya!